Hello and welcome to episode 30 of SAAB Fever. My name's Frank, and in today's episode we'll be changing the cabin filter on a SAAB 9.5. The cabin filter in the 9.5 isn't the easiest thing to replace. It's not particularly difficult either, but it is fiddly. There's a few things that need to come off. This cover here for some of the pipes for the aircon unit. This kick panel down here, and then the glove box above it. The kick panel itself is held in by 4 Torx screws. You can see one of mine's missing here. It's clipped in at the back, so once you undo the front, it'll just slide out. There's then an additional 3 below the glove box. And then 3 at the top. There are additional screws here and here, but they just hold in these metal clips, so you can ignore them. My cover's just held in with a self-tapping screw here. That'll be getting replaced. That's not standard factory fitment. From here you can actually see the box that contains the filter, but sadly there's still a lot more we need to take off. Oh, that's the missing one. With those done, you should be able to now lower it and then pull it forwards towards yourself. It's, as I said before, it is held in by a white clip at the back there. Don't go pulling it too far. The courtesy light's still plugged in. Those connectors just pull apart though. Okay, so here we are again. Got a much better view of the box that contains the filter. However, the glove box still needs to come out for us to get to everything that we need to get to. Looks like I'm also missing a screw for the lower glove box here as well. And now the screws that hold the top of the glove box. Yeah, weather decided to take a turn for the worst, so I guess we just sit here and play Spot the SAABs. For some reason, the glove box in the Project 9.5 decided it wasn't going to come out. You can just see the metal housing there for the light is touching the side of the dashboard. So I just had to shove something in there to squeeze it out the way. I'm not sure why I had to do that. I don't recall ever having to do that in the past, but I had to do it on this car. Much like the kick panel, don't go pulling the glove box all the way out. There are some connectors for the lights and also the hose for the air conditioning. Okay, so that's that out the way as well. We're nearly there. Alright, here's a good look. It's that black box there in the middle of the frame, roughly slightly to the right. Out of interest, that's the ECU that runs the engine. So that's the computer that runs the Trionic 7 software that SAAB use. This car's a manual. Here's a shot from an automatic with the same view. You can see there's basically an extra plastic frame and the transmission control unit, the TCM, in the front there. If you do have an automatic, and this one in particular is the 5-speed. The older 4-speed has a different box, but from memory it's still in the same place. There's a little plastic clip at the back. Just press that and it will fall down onto your hand. There's no need to disconnect it, just leave all the cables plugged in. There will be a slight interference when you're trying to fit the new filter there, but it's okay, you'll be able to squeeze around it. Okay, back to my manual. Now we've got all these hex screws here to take off. From memory, I think there's something like 8 of them, roughly. They go around the side of the aircon unit here. With all of them removed, it should just be a case of now pulling the side off. There we go. And we can now actually see the filter. And a lot of leaves and other crud that's in it. As I said before, it is kind of a little bit of a fiddly job. It's not looking too pleasant in there. But I suppose that's why we have filters. Pretty grubby looking. Yeah, here's a good view of the new one. It's not a genuine, it's a Comline one, but it seems to do the job perfectly well. I do prefer the ones that come with the rigid plastic frame that I've got here. I've had some in the past, some of the really cheap ones. They come with like a sort of a felt sort of frame. It's terrible. The genuine ones come with some sticky tape already attached to the top. I believe the general idea is that you attach the foam onto the filter and then shove it all in one go, but I've never had any luck doing that at all, so I prefer to actually place the foam in before the filter. What I'm going to do is place the foam in ahead of time and then push it up onto the pipes so that in essence it sits like this. So the pipes where my fingers are, they're going through and they hold the foam in place. This way, the only thing I have to deal with is the sort of the wobbly ends. The far end's easy to deal with. It'll pretty much just slide out the way as you put the filter in. But I probably will need to hold up the near end to stop it catching on the filter as the filter slides in. Sadly, most of this has to be done by feel. For the most part, you can't get your head and your arm down there at the same time. What I'm doing is I'm mounting it to the nearest end to me first, then shoving my arm in, again completely blind, having to do it all by feel, and then pushing the foam up onto the far pipe. And then a little further in to then sort out that sort of flappy end. Sticking my phone in here to get a good look, and that's absolutely perfect, if I do say so myself. Obviously the near end you need to deal with separately, but the far end and the middle's fine. I can now slide the new filter in whilst holding the foam up at the near end to make sure it doesn't catch. And so here goes with the new filter. You can just about see it. I had to use my fingers there at the top to hold the foam out the way. I'm keeping an eye on it as well, because obviously I don't want it to catch and fold up as I'm shoving the filter in. Okay, let's have a look at this, see how well I did. I'm just giving it another little shove there at the bottom. I think it wasn't quite sitting right. Another look. As you see, the foam at the top's fine. Everything seems to be in place. That should be it. Now it's simply a case of putting everything back together as you found it. Now remember, this lower kick panel just slides on to that plastic clip at the back there. This little protective bit for the pipes can go back in as well. As always, I tend to have a few of these little random clips and stuff in the shed. I like things done properly wherever possible on my cars. And that's basically it. As I said, it's not the most difficult job in the world, but it is fiddly, and it's a job I think gets overlooked all too often as well. Most people service their car, obviously they worry about air filter, oil filter, the oil itself as well. I think the cabin filter gets overlooked a lot. It's not something that needs doing every year, but at the same time you shouldn't forget about it either. As always, thanks for watching.